The World Economic Forum is meeting at Davos. Who are they? Well, 50 heads of state and or government are there, many big-shot Saudi princes. The governor of the Central Bank of Ukraine, I think that's Hunter Biden, isn't it? He succeeded Chelsea Clinton, if I recall correctly. We will have a report from the scene a little later, but so far Klaus Schwab's Spectre board meeting is going great, and he seems upbeat and bullish.
Let's also be clear. The future is not just happening. The future is built by us, by a powerful community as you here in this room.
Is it just me, or is Klaus Schwab's sinister Teutonic accent getting more parodic? The future is built by us. Tomorrow belongs to me. I'm told he talks like Tony Blackburn off air. Hey, that's the big sound of world domination for you right here on Radio 2. But he was advised that the whiff of the old Prussian riding crop comes off better on camera. The future is built by us. Very good, Klaus, but don't forget the maniacal cackle. The sinister globalists were unable to release a new pandemic in 2021 because the 2020 pandemic was still going gangbusters, but this season's rollout is proceeding on schedule. Belgium becomes first country... I'm going to try and get through this with a straight face. Belgium becomes first country to introduce compulsory monkeypox quarantine. But don't worry, there's a vaccine for that. Jabba, 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 said the monkey to the chimp.
Dabba, 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 said the chimpy to the monk. Dabba, 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 said the monkey to the chimp.
Great stuff. Jabba, 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 jabba. Sir Keir Starmer is calling for the introduction of protective masks. Oh. If you don't like that design, it also comes in a ginger growler. The other story we've reported on multiple times is the new World Health Organization treaty, under which all the people who've ruined your life these last 2 years will be able to monkey with you all over again and again and again, because the future is built by us. What is the point of domestic politics if the future is being built by chaps at the Spectre board meeting on top of a Swiss Alp whom you can't go and vote out at any polling place on earth? As is traditional in such matters, the monkeypox only affects law-abiding citizens, so you'll have to quarantine, but don't worry, we'll still have open borders on the southern coast. The overwhelming majority of Tory voters, and in fact large numbers of Labour voters, want an end to open borders on the southern coast, but sorry, your views count for naught. Because of the European Court of Human Rights. We're told the European Court of Human Rights is a wholly owned subsidiary of the World Economic Forum. I think the Chief Justice on it is Klaus Schwab's second cousin once removed. And so it is that under a supposedly conservative government, Linton-on-Ouse in North Yorkshire is to be enhanced by the presence of 1,500 quote-unquote asylum seekers. 1,500 is actually close to double the population of the village, and as the quote-unquote migrants are all men, mostly young and frisky, they'll also significantly distort the sex ratio, making the neighbourhood about 80% male. If politics provides no means to adjust policy, then what is the point of politics? And just to bring it back to the so-called top story of the day, which bores me comatose, Boris Johnson being photographed with a glass only matters if Boris Johnson matters. And Klaus Schwab and co. figure that Boris Johnson doesn't matter. And indeed, if you're in Linton-on-Ouse, he doesn't appear to matter either. That's the one thing Linton-on-Ouse and Davos have in common. Once upon a time, there was a supposed centre-right party. They'd been in government for, a decade or so, and they won their third prime minister. And like so many conservative parties these days, they hadn't done anything in the least bit conservative. On the other hand, they'd signed on enthusiastically to net zero, and come the COVID, they were very partial to giving it to you with a good, hard lockdown. And sure, the base was pretty cranky about it all, but let's face it, those losers have got nowhere else to go because the Labour bloke is so scary and left-wing. No, I'm not talking about Boris Johnson's Tories. I'm talking about Scott Morrison down under. He's out, he's gone, he's done. And it turns out in the end, the Labour bloke is certainly left-wing, but insufficiently scary to save Mr. Morrison and keep him in his job. As I always say, when the left wins, it's in power. When the right wins, it's in office. Which means that when the political pendulum swings, your average Conservative voter has nothing to show for a decade of, on the one hand, Abbott, Turnbull, Morrison, or conversely, Cameron, May, Johnson. I wouldn't want to overstate the comparison between Her Majesty's realms, North and South, because at least Mr. Morrison's ministry is capable of stopping the migrant boats, which is more than Mr. Johnson's can do.